I'm delighted to be joined by Matt, the creative director of Senep. Matt, we've just ported Alphaputt to VIVERSE, which is an amazing mobile game that we have a lot to talk about. Your background as an indie developer, and then also the process of bringing your content to the web for the first time. But
sure.
Maybe, can you just tell us about how Alphaputt got started?
So, yeah, how Alphaputt got started. It took us 3 attempts to get somewhere with this game. So it actually started as a client pitch. We'd had some success with our first game, mobile game called Olo, and ad agency kind of connected with us and asked us to pitch to one of their clients, because one of their clients was really interested in getting into the game space. So we did some research. I think the game was supposed to launch in the Netherlands. At the time, like little bouncy ball games, simple mechanics were working really well in the Netherlands. So we came up with what we thought was a great idea, came back, pitched the game, which was basically a mini golf kind of snakes and ladders kind of concept. So you have like 9 mini golf courses stacked on top of each other. You start at the top and you can sort of cascade down. I think there's some screens behind. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can kind of cascade down, but you get sent back upwards, up to the top. So, to cut a long story short, we pitched to the client and they absolutely hated it. They thought honestly, I don't know what happened. I think the ad agency briefed us really badly, but the guy we pitched to looked so pissed off that we'd even pitched a game to him. So we kind of had to lick our wounds a little bit, leave that behind. Get on with other projects, and then we came back maybe a year later because we felt like this idea had something good about it. We were still keen to sort of explore it, so we prototyped, as you do as a game designer, to see if it's any good, and it really wasn't actually very good either. Like, I think the idea of getting sent back up to the top became really frustrating, and we didn't really enjoy playing it. And when you're making a game, you need to find the fun, and we didn't find the fun, so round 2, kind of failure. A couple of years later, this is like quite a long story, but I'll try and get to
All good.
A couple of years later, we had an opportunity to have 2 game design interns join the studio for 3 months. So we gave them the brief, we gave them kind of the mini golf brief and free rein to explore that. They did an amazing job coming up with loads of ideas, kind of sketching loads of kind of concepts out. Almost too good, because we just had a breadth of lots of stuff, but not anything that had like a core idea or identity. So it was almost third time and a strike, but I went on holiday. I was on a ferry on the way to Greece with the family, and I was like, we just need to get some kind of core concept that we could all kind of align around, and just came up with the idea of an A to Z of mini golf. That you can play through every letter, and then you can type your own courses. So that was the core concept, and once we had that focus and constraint and vision, everything kind of fell into place, and we just had a lot of fun generating all of these like mini courses with personality, sound design, everything that we love doing just like came together. And we eventually launched the game on the App Store 2018. Self-published like premium game, and lucky enough to have some amazing features from Apple, Game of the Day, and we kind of became a bit of a project that we're really fond of and really enjoyed working on.
Yeah, it is such a clever, and also just you can tell that it comes from people with a very, very strong design background. Maybe you can tell a little bit about how your team has balanced the more design agency work and then also the game side, because I think it's important context for...
Yeah, well, we start out as a design agency in 2003, and our kind of like the founding promise that we had with my partner was like every year we would do a personal project to avoid getting pigeonholed into certain type of work. And I think in 2012, we'd done a lot of Flash websites. Flash got killed. We needed to do an app to prove that we could do that to clients, and we developed our first game, which was called Olo. And we had some success with that on the App Store. And I think just our design background brings us with us maybe slightly different sensibility to how we tackle the projects. They're very visual, very, rich and detailed, and we really try to we have this weird thing that if we make anything, we feel like you should be able to print it out and put it on the wall. And if we've done that, that's kind of one of our sort of ticks of something that works well.
Yeah. And before we talk about bringing it to VIVERSE, maybe talk a little bit about after launch. You have a really strong showing, right? Pretty early on from the title. How did it evolve just with other mobile platforms after launch?
Different mobile platforms after iOS? Or?
Yeah, was it always just for iOS?
It was always just iOS. We're a really small team. Like the team that built this was myself on design, one Unity developer, one 3D artist part-time, and some sound guys. So we're like really small team. So we didn't really want to expand and have to look after other platforms when we had client work as well. So
and so we discovered the work. I think we got connected at a similar conference to GDC over in the UK, and we were just blown away by the beauty and the cleverness of the title, and wanted to bring it over. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that process of bringing it to the web for the first time and what that was like.
Yeah. I think it was we've never really considered the web. Like we hadn't considered desktop or any other platforms. Like I said, we were just pure iOS. We met VIVERSE in the Develop conference in Brighton in England. We talked to them about the idea of porting it over, and it became really interesting to us actually to give this game that we have a lot of fondness for to life and bring it to a new audience and bring it to desktop, make it big, make it like accessible to a new audience. And we were quite excited about the idea of doing that. Yeah,
y'all were one of, I think, the biggest experiences that we had ported to the web. And there were some questions at first about whether we would be able to get all, it's not just 26 letters, it's, I think we ported all 30 levels, right? Multiple gameplay modes. Getting all of that to the web browser was a bit of an unknown for us at first, right? Yeah, it was an unknown. We weren't sure about the performance. Could we get the same, we spend a lot of time making this as good as possible, and would it perform as well on the web? Would it feel like native on the mobile? Would it feel good on desktop? So there was quite a lot for us to kind of take on, but we'd seen other stuff on VIVERSE, and we felt like this was a good time. As a company that do a lot of websites, we felt quite comfortable in the web space, so it was really nice to go full circle and almost bring this game back onto the web. Yeah, and our goal with working with you was we really want to have just the highest quality content like this brought to the web for the first time and be known for that and assist with bringing these kinds of titles to VIVERSE. So this has been a really amazing first kind of case study that we've had here. And maybe just for a little bit of context, this was all through the VIVERSE Creator Grant Program, where we offer guaranteed funding, porting fees, and then after launch viewership compensation. So we're not monetizing with ads. For Alphaputt specifically, we are paying based on engagement after launch. Yeah. And I thought that was a massive thing for us because I think... Because it was also a premium title. Yeah, because when we looked at what we could do with the game, it's a premium title, so we had some nice success at the start of the game, but the kind of numbers drop after a while, and we never wanted to put ads into the game, but clearly the friction point was that you had to pay for it. Yep. So the opportunity to bring it to free but still be able to monetize it was like really interesting for us, because we didn't then have to break up the experience by dropping in ads in places that didn't feel designed in. Should we talk a little bit about the early engagement metrics we've seen since launch? The game's been out for about a month. We've been, VIVERSE has invested in paid social advertisements, so really getting in front of the mobile users, but we've also seen a lot of engagement for the desktop users. Just in terms of the engagement rate, I know on our paid social ads, we're seeing a bounce rate of about 30 to 40%, which is, that might sound like a lot compared to other games and titles. That's very, very low for us. So engagement rates of 60 to 70% are very impressive on our side in terms of what you saw before. Yeah, massively on our side as well. Like I said, ours is a paid game, so probably our conversion from people coming to the page is like less than 1%. After the game is 8 years old, it's kind of that's not great. We did some free. We gave it away for free, and we were looking at maybe like 16% of people were kind of coming through and playing the game. So
to have it on VIVERSE and have like 60% of people play for at least 30 seconds, and then I think probably looking at the data we've got from the first month, people are playing like on average for about 9 minutes, and like the top 10 percentile was probably looking more around like up in the 30-minute.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, we're super excited, I'm super happy about that.
Just from the results that we've seen working with y'all, it's something that we want to replicate with many more different experiences on the platform, just because really bringing amazing full experiences to the web browser. There aren't many experiences that look like Alphaputt out there, whether on ViveVerse or just anywhere on the web browser. I think a big part was also porting to desktop for the first time.
Yeah.
What was that process like for y'all design-wise, and how has it inspired you moving forward as you look towards future iterations of Alphaputt, but also your next projects?
Yeah. I mean, I think fortunately the game is like a landscape, so it was a perfect scale up to desktop. There wasn't like a great deal of work on the design side. I think the mechanic is quite simple, so converting from touch to like mouse and keyboard was relatively good, straightforward.
Yeah.
So we were lucky with that, and like the UI kind of is responsive. We're used to designing websites, so that was on that side pretty straightforward. I think on the technical side there was a lot more. The game was made in 2018, so we had to update the code base. That was
built with Unity, right?
Built in Unity. So getting up from like a Unity version in 2018 to like Unity 6 to make it feel more performant.
And Unity 6 is very exciting to us just because of all the improvements that have been made for web and web games. So getting that upgraded was, I think, unlocked a lot of performance.
Yeah, and actually porting it to WebGL was also relatively straightforward. I think the big things we had to contend with is like memory management and things like that in the web browser, and like on our mobile game we can just load all the assets at the start, we can put all the sound in, all the graphics are loaded, and then they're permanently there, whereas on the web you need to be careful with like the RAM and the memory, so we had to kind of load stuff, unload stuff, work that stuff out, and that was the bit that took a bit of time, but we got there. And
it seemed like really the audio change for the web and then the optimization for iOS were the only two main hurdles that we had to get
nothing
past.
else. It was, and the audio is done in Wise, so that was just for us to work out how to. There's not a great deal of documentation, particularly for Wise for WebGL, but it was great, and there was a lot of support from ViveVerse in that process. As well.
And moving forward, how about plans for? Are you planning to continue doing desktop with your new projects, or what about maybe even VR for? Yeah,
I think the thing with this port has kind of unlocked for us is that the game is now kind of the code base is up to is modern and easier to update. So that allows us to explore some of our ideas around like VR. I think we've got some stuff up here, but we've been experimenting, bringing the game to VR, doing mixed reality versions of it. I think one of the big things about ViveVerse, or having it on the web, is there's a lot less friction to get people through to play the game, and the fact that we can send a link out to someone and then go straight there and play it allows us to think more creatively around how we kind of market the game in terms of like doing online challenges and things like that. So we're thinking about the hardest achievement in the game, which is playing A to Z, all in a hole in one. As far as I know, has never been done by anyone. I mean, I've played the game thousands of times, and I haven't done it, the developer hasn't done it, but setting challenges like that and seeing if anyone actually can do that, and sending them to a link that is accessible across desktop and Android and iOS allows us to do those challenges and make it easy for them to join and play it.
And it might be useful for folks to know, with this port, y'all were still operating with a very lean team, right?
Yeah, totally. The team for this port was myself and Sean, the developer that we work with on these projects. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Very lean.
And I think I should, for anyone who's doing a port with us, the intention is that it really is change your exporting if it's built for native, for the web, and then make a couple of small integrations. So this time we did ask you to integrate our account SDK, so anyone who has a ViveVerse account can integrate it and have access to their username and a little bit of persistent storage from associated with their username.
Yeah.
But for us, it's not really more complicated than that.
No, I think like I'm not a developer, I'm the designer, but talking to our developer, he was on that side. All the documentation was really like straightforward and easy. It was like once we'd done the build, like deploying it was like super straightforward and very easy to do.
Yeah. Well, we're so excited to see how Alphaputt continues performing. I'm also very excited to see such a creative agency maybe try out VR for the first time and bring it there. I think you were saying that the interaction, there are lots of kind of like VR putt-putt games, but you might use flicking, right?
Yeah, I think for the kind of XR mixed reality stuff, I think just having it as a tabletop game and using it as a flick. So when you get it at that size, you kind of see that the ball is more like a marble, and it just feels quite natural as an interaction. And it's not really an interaction I've seen that much, so we prototyped it, but I'm keen to kind of explore that and try and make that happen as well. Yeah.
And maybe for folks moving forward, it sounds like Alphaputt, some of your other personal projects started as this commitment to always doing one personal project, always doing one game, while also balancing with the agency work. Is that still how y'all operate, or are y'all focusing more on the gaming
that's
side?
still how we operate, but we kind of look back at our portfolio of work, and the games like Alphaputt and Olo were like two of our sort of favorite things we've ever done. So we're trying to sort of transition more into just seeing if we can focus on games, and bringing the game to different platforms allows us to kind of try and make that work as a full-time kind of thing.
Absolutely. We're open to any questions y'all have for us about VIVERSE or about Matt. I should also say, I'll pull up a link here. VIVERSE, we're always looking for other amazing studios, indie developers to collaborate with and bring their work to the web for the first time. Like I said, we have the creator grants, which is guaranteed funding for the development and porting of your project to VIVERSE. And then we also have what's called the partner program, which is more performance-based after you launch. If you want to do ad revenue sharing or you want to do in-app purchases, all that is available through the partner program, which is a more broad, where the creator grants is a little bit more selective. But we would absolutely love for anyone who's interested to apply and let us know what you want to build on VIVERSE. Any questions?
So I just opened the platform and I played your game. That was really cool. I liked that. I mean, I didn't have to download anything. Did you say that you're going to be bringing VR to web?
Yes. WebXR has actually had a pretty vibrant...
I meant like a full Unity game to WebXR.
To WebXR, we've had a couple of people do it. One of the other main ports that we discovered through Steam, they had actually built with web technology, but still packaged it through Steam as a native application. We had them port their game just for WebXR. The title is called Face Miner, and it's about kind of like data collection and AI processing of data. But that one, it was originally built with web technologies, but we've had multiple work with Unity and be able to port for WebXR.
Okay, I'd love to talk to her.
I would love to as well. I should also say VIVERSE is a project within HTC, the hardware manufacturer, including some of the earliest and most successful virtual reality headsets. While VIVERSE, supports mobile and desktop, we also support a number of VR-compatible titles too. Everything running in the web browser. So we love when, especially developers, select multiple platforms and device types. It's a really exciting challenge that we like to empower developers to build for multiple devices.